Well, hello. My name's Denny. This is my plant-based journey, and it's Saturday afternoon. We're going into the evening, and it's time for breakfast for supper. And I'm going to make pancakes. Do you like pancakes? I like pancakes. I'm going to use this recipe for something else later next week. I hope you'll tune in for that as well. But tonight I'm going to make pumpkin pancakes. I know it's trendy and everybody else does it, but I'm going to show you a different way to make it, and it's one that's a little healthier here. And so let's give it a try. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blend up some whole oats. These are old-fashioned oats, steel-cut oats. You can use whatever you have, but I'm going to use the Vitamix, and I'm going to take the oats. I'm going to take 3 cups of oats, and I'm going to blend them up and turn them into flour. Let me just say this also. You don't have to use a Vitamix. For a lot of years I used just a regular old blender, and I also have used the Ninja. I about wore out the Ninja, and it doesn't have as much power as the Vitamix does. But whatever you have will work. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy something new. Just use what you have. And in truth, you really don't have to blend it up. I just want to make them smooth. I've eaten it where I just mixed this up and didn't even blend it up. I didn't even cut up the oats, and it came out fine. It just has a little more texture to it, which is nice too if you want to make some of these and take them with you like in your lunch and then have one to chew on. It'll have a little more grain to it. But anyway, I'm going to use this Vitamix. You use what you have. Let's turn this oats into flour. So let me try this and see what happens here. All right, there we go. This is flour. It looks great. It looks like regular old flour. It is all chopped up. To that, I'm going to add 1 cup of vanilla almond milk. I'm going to add 1 cup of pumpkin. You can use whatever you have in your area. You may have some good canned pumpkin. You may have to cut up a pumpkin and use fresh. Whatever you have is fine. You can use other flavors. You could use sweet potato. You could use butternut squash. You know, whatever your flavor is that you want to use. The butternut squash won't be as sweet as the pumpkin will be. But I'm gonna use this pumpkin, and it's gonna be great. All right, so I'm gonna use maple syrup as the sweetener. I do have date sugar, but I'm gonna use this for the liquid aspect of it. This is pure 100% maple syrup. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup, which may seem like a lot, but it really isn't as much as I'm making here. This is a large batch. You don't have to make one this big, but I'm going to make it so I have some extras. That's pure maple syrup. To that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. And that's a lot of baking soda, or a lot of baking powder, excuse me, but it's what will work great in this recipe. And then to that, I'm going to add some vanilla extract. And I made the same mistake I made last week. I was making a recipe and I grabbed one and I thought this was vanilla and it's almond. And let me tell you, if you've ever made that mistake, the almond flavor is quite different than vanilla. When you pop it in your mouth and you're thinking that you're about to have some vanilla flavoring and it turns out to be almond, it's quite a shock to your system. Hold on 1 second. Let me go get the vanilla. Okay, I'm back. So I have the pure vanilla extract. If you've bought pure vanilla, you know it's expensive. You can use imitation. It won't taste the same. It'll have a little bit of an alcohol flavor to it. I'm going to use a teaspoon of this. You know what? I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of this. I like the vanilla flavor. So we're going to use that. And then to this, I'm going to add some ground cinnamon, some nutmeg, not a lot, just a little bit, and I'm going to put some pumpkin pie spice. Now, if you go to your store and they don't have pumpkin, and you grab pumpkin pie mix, don't do that. That's not the same thing. All right, so make sure that you use just pumpkin. But let's put some pumpkin pie spice in here. Oh, I love that smell. I mean, it's just incredible. And so I put a half a teaspoon in there. I'm gonna put just a little touch more. That's maybe a third of a half. So just maybe a heaping half is what you'd put in there. To that, I'm gonna add about a quarter that much of nutmeg. Nutmeg is really strong, and so I'm just going to use a half of a quarter, which is an eighth, but I don't have an eighth with me. You don't need much of that. It's really strong. And then I'm going to put in cinnamon. Now I like using cinnamon. I'll use a lot of cinnamon. If you get cinnamon too hot, it's not going to be good. It'll be bitter. So make sure you don't go crazy. So I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of the cinnamon, which is a lot. So I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of the cinnamon. All right. Now I have my mixture ready to go. And I'm going to put the lid on it. Otherwise, I'll have a big mess in here. And pulse it. Okay, just 1 second. I'm going to go grab some almond milk. And I'm going to add a little bit more to this so that it will be a little smoother, a little runnier, because this would just make more like a biscuit than it does a pancake. So let me go get some more milk. Okay, so I have another half cup, so that'll make a cup and a half total, and that's probably about right. In the past, that's kind of the ratio that I've used, is about half liquid to the oats mixture. But I wasn't sure if I would need all that with the maple syrup, but let's try this and see what happens. Okay, so I have had to go back and add more milk. This high-powered Vitamix, it chopped up those oats so fine that it almost turned it to glue when I added the liquid. And so I have now added enough to make it about 2.5 cups of the almond milk, the vanilla almond milk, to go along with the 3 cups of the oats. And it has a good consistency to it. I think this will make good pancakes. But we'll give it a try, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But this looks really good. I'm gonna taste it just a second here. Yep, tastes good. It's got a good pumpkin flavor. You can taste that pumpkin pie spice and a little bit of that nutmeg. In all honesty, I could even add more. I like it the way it is though, so I'm not going to put more. But you could make it more pungent if you wanted to make it more like a dessert type flavor. But with the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the pumpkin pie spice, and the pumpkin, this is going to be really good. I'm going to go make some pancakes, and I'll be back in a second. I'll show you what they look like. There you are, pumpkin pancakes. Now I'm going to tell you that you might want to make this about equal parts if you have a Vitamix, because it chops up the oats so fine that you need more liquid. But these are a little more dense at 2.5 cups of the almond milk, but 3 and 3 probably would be fine. Now that's a lot of pancakes, but like I said, I'm going to make some for extra for later. You can use pure maple syrup. You could use, you know, if you're one of those people who want to avoid this syrup, there's all kinds of things you could do, like berries. You could blend up some balsamic vinegar and have that kind of a flavor. You could get some of the coconut cream and pull the top off and whip it and have whipped coconut cream to go on top. There's many options. You've eaten pancakes before. You know what you can do. You know, you can put pecans over the top of it, or you could you know, do something crazy like heat up some peanut butter and make a peanut butter sauce to pour over the top of it. Whatever you like. All those flavors might not be good with pumpkin, but let's try this pumpkin pancake and see how it tastes. Again, you might want to use a little bit more liquid next time when you make yours, but let's see what it tastes like. Really good. It's not as sweet probably as a pumpkin pie, but it has the flavor as a pumpkin pie. Again, you can add date sugar to it. You could put more syrup, whatever you like, but it has a great flavor. It tastes like pumpkin pie or pumpkin cake, but it's made with oats, almond milk, spices. And so give it a try. I hope you like it. Make sure you cook them. I recommend that you spread them out on a really hot grill, spread them out thin, and then when they bubble around the top, flip them over, let them set another 45 seconds to a minute, and they'll be ready to go. Give it a try. Tell me your thoughts. Try it out. Pumpkin pie and pumpkin spice with nutmeg and cinnamon. Oh, it's just so good as a pancake. Give it a try and let me know what you think. Quick update. Boy, these are good, but I did have to make it about equal parts almond milk and flour from the oats. First time I ever done this with the Vitamix, and when I used the Ninja, it didn't chop it up so fine, and so it didn't make it so fine a flour. As soon as I added the liquid to this, this began to get gluey, and over the course of a few minutes after the first batch was down on the griddle, it started getting really thick. So I added more milk to it, and now it's a good consistency. But really watch your liquid. Again, you better start with equal portions of the oats to the almond milk, and then play it by ear, eyeball it, because it's going to be different every time based on how much you use the Vitamix or whatever you have to chop up those oats. But it tastes great. In fact, I don't want to talk anymore. I want to finish eating. It tastes great. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. And I would recommend equal parts on the liquid to the flour. Have a great day. My name's Denny. This is my plant-based journey, and we'll see you soon. I've got some things coming up. I'm going to make some fresh spaghetti sauce and also some tomato basil soup. I hope you'll tune in and watch those. All right. We'll talk to you later. I've got to eat some pancakes. Good night.